I want us to get into the conversation that we are having this afternoon. It's all about basketball in Africa and, of course, developing basketball. And in studio with me, I am with Mumbi Kagobe, who's from Stanbic, and she'll be telling us why they decided to, of course, get into basketball in South Sudan, and if, of course, that has borne any fruits. And, of course, we have Michael Finley, who's the NBA Kenya Senior Director. He will be telling us on what, they have been doing since NBA launched here in Kenya. So we want to get into that conversation. Good afternoon, Mumbi. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
I understand you're back from Juba.
Yes. I'm in Nairobi for a few days before I head back to Juba.
Yes. Tell us about, Stanbic getting into, junior NBA in South Sudan.
So we got into the partnership with the NBA Africa in South Sudan in 2022.
Yes.
We signed an agreement in 2022. And why we got into this agreement is largely based on the purpose that we have as Stanbic Bank. Stanbic Bank is part of the Standard Bank Group,
yes,
which is the largest bank in Africa by assets. And our purpose in Africa is our home, we drive her growth. And in South Sudan, the same. South Sudan is our home and we drive her growth. So we have a strong belief in the youth and what they present for the future.
Yes.
And so we found it important to invest in the youth through the Stanbic Junior NBA League. So the partnership involves the program, which is a junior NBA program, a program that the NBA run across the globe. So we rolled that in South Sudan in conjunction with the Luol Deng Foundation, who have been implementing this partnership for us on the ground. In addition to that, we have also constructed a court, a FIBA standard outdoor court at one of the schools that are participating in the league. Yes.
So far since 2022, how have you seen, this partnership develop, or rather give, South Sudan what it needs when you talk about basketball?
So what this partnership is doing is basically building basketball, the players of tomorrow at a grassroots level. So we're equipping them with the fundamental skills of the game as well as the core values of the game that come with that game. So what we have done so far is, aside from unveiling our court in December of 2023,
yes,
we launched our league at the beginning of this year, and it was the first season of the league,
yes,
that ran all the way to August. What we've managed to achieve, we have 450 kids who are participating in that program. Of the 450, we're happy to say that 280 are boys and 170 are girls. We've also managed to hire 30 coaches. So we have created some employment as well as trained these 30 coaches.
Yes.
And they're certified as well. 36 referees as well have been trained as well in our program. We also have media volunteers, about 6 media volunteers from the Luol Deng Foundation who've been trained by the NBA. So that's been fantastic. So the kids played against each other. We had 30 teams from 30 schools within Juba playing against each other. And it culminated in we had the regular season, then we had the playoffs. So it basically emulates the NBA, the 30 teams, Eastern Conference, Western Conference.
Yes.
Then we had the playoffs, the East, within the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. And then finally we had the finals in August, which was an extremely exciting event. And in that event, it was a week it was a whole week celebration of sports in South Sudan. We had a top 50 camp, so the top 50 kids of the 450 participated in a camp that had the NBA coaches there. And then we had a 2-day training for the coaches.
Yes.
And finally, we had the finals games. That was a lot of fun, lots of energy.
It was like a festival.
Oh, yeah, it was. So first we had a VIP event where we had a lot of senior stakeholders from the government, as well as the UN agencies in the country and clients and other stakeholders who participated. And we also had executives from the NBA who graced the occasion, as well as Cedric Ceballos, who's a former All-Star and a Dank champion. We also had Luol Deng at the event. He's the president of the South Sudan Basketball Federation and also the founder of the Luol Deng Foundation. So it's been very, very exciting just seeing the kids, from some kids who could barely dribble a ball to now shooting and becoming MVPs in the season has just been fantastic. The energy has been great. And more so, being able to give them that global platform, having the NBA executives there to identify them, and see the talent that we have in South Sudan has been extremely, extremely exciting. On top of that, let me add, Robbie,
yes,
we also had the national team players join us, the Bright Stars. We had Wenyen Gabriel, Kwani the captain, and Nunio Mott as well, who came and graced the occasion as well. So it's been very, very exciting. Yeah.
Good to hear. So, of course, even from the participation of the national team, that is the South Sudan national team at the Olympics, everybody at the moment is looking at South Sudan when it comes to basketball. Michael, I mean, NBA in Kenya, since you guys launched here in Kenya, how has it been so far?
No, it's been great. Look, we made the commitment here because we see not only that there's a wealth of talent in the not only in Kenya, but as Mumbi alluded to, in the region. We see a business opportunity. We see that basketball is immensely popular. It looks, what's fascinating about Kenya is that basketball was instituted in the school system in the 70s and 80s during the Moi era. And so you have a deep passion for the game. You have a lot of fans here, and it's just a unique sort of environment to grow the game and to grow the business. So since we've started, we started off by meeting President Ruto and the CS of Sport in our office in New York back a year ago. It was during the UN General Assembly in September of last year. We signed an MOU with the Ministry of Sport, which said we would focus on three things. One is to assist with getting infrastructure built in the country, to identify and develop elite talent, and then the foundational pillar was to get basketball back into the school system, and in order to do that, by helping to train coaches, teachers, to grow the game. So we've already started on that path. We've signed a partnership in country with Safaricom, and we're starting to get that program running. We have a program running with the French Development Bank. We built a dual court at the Kenya Academy of Sport in Kasarani. So now the elite players have a really nice double court venue there to train on. And then we also started with training coaches and players in the country. So we've got a lot of activity going, and we're really excited about the opportunity. And the NBA is showing that we're serious about being here. Our Deputy Commissioner, Mark Tatum, will be traveling to the country the 7th to the 10th of October to meet with government stakeholders, just to also let the corporate Kenya and to let the government and just the entire country know that the NBA is serious about what our commitment to being here.
2 or 3 weeks ago, you had a coaching clinic for our local coaches.
Yeah.
What did that entail?
Man, it was actually a great. There were many things that happened around that, as a matter of fact. So that was us working with the French Development Bank and the Kenya Academy of Sport and the Kenya Basketball Federation. So what we've agreed to do is, in order for the game to grow in any market, but we have to develop the teachers of the game. We have to take the coaches, identify the ones that are already coaching, and help improve their skills, and then we have to identify new coaches. So what we've done, that particular program, we identified 20 coaches, and we took them through a 2-day training session, which, unplanned, what happened was, the training was planned, but at the end of that training, it just so happened that I think the best female player to ever come out of Kenya happened to get her visa that same week. And so Medina Akot. And we were able to have her come out, address the coaches, address the people at the Kenya Academy of Sport, and it was 2 days before she left for Mississippi State University. So, which was a big thing for us, and just a big thing for Kenyan basketball. But that's what that program is about. It's about developing coaches, and that's just the beginning. Our target is to train hundreds and eventually thousands of coaches in Kenya.
Yes, Mubi, let's talk about still basketball in South Sudan, where you guys have invested in. Is it only basketball, or you guys are also thinking of venturing into other sports now, because basketball at the moment is very big there? Yes.
Yeah. So we've also invested in athletics. In July, we participated in, we sponsored the inter-school athletics in South Sudan. So we're really interested in sports and still looking to see what more we can support the community in. Yes.
Yes, Michael, what do you have to say about the junior NBA in South Sudan?
Yes. Man, look, I was saying we were sitting there for the finals. Government officials, minister of sport, corporates all came out. The venue was packed. We have 16 now junior NBA programs across Africa. I haven't seen the energy that I saw in the finals in South Sudan. And the timing of it couldn't have been better because, as you know, the national team came within 1 point of beating the U.S. team in the qualifiers for the lead up to the Olympics.
Yes.
And then in the Olympics, all of Africa got behind the South Sudanese national team, right? And they performed at the highest level in Paris during the Olympics. So now we had that energy, that excitement. I mean, you had thousands of people watching those games at watch parties in South Sudan. So for us, it was almost like divine because our junior NBA finals came right after that. We had Cedric Ceballos, as Mumbi mentioned, former All-Star, former dunk champion. And we had Luol Deng, who is a legend. Yeah. But they weren't the most popular people at the finals. It was the two gentlemen from the national team because they were the new stars. And they, what was great, they came down on the court, the team that lost the championship, crying, they came down, they hugged the kids. So it's just a sign. And then everyone knows about the talent that's in South Sudan, but people don't really know. What I didn't really know. It's literally off the charts. I would argue that South Sudan, per capita, is arguably the most rich talent pool for the game of basketball in the world. We had a kid in the finals who was 7'1", 16 years old. I think he'd been playing basketball for about 6 months.
6 months.
And we immediately were trying to get him to our academy in Senegal because he's just a unique talent. He, in the footsteps of a gentleman named Kaman Malawach, who we identified 3 years ago in Uganda. He was a South Sudanese refugee in Uganda. You know your sport, obviously. He just signed a full scholarship to Duke University. We think he's going to stay 1 year, and we think he'll be one of the top 5 picks in the NBA draft in 2025. So those kids are everywhere, and it's not just South Sudan. This region is just a wealth of talent. So it's just exciting times. The South Sudan was incredible. And we've already got companies there that are saying, hey, we want to be a part of that program, which is what it's all about. We got to build more courts. We got to create more opportunities for young people, get them off the streets, help them identify their talent, and fall in love with the game. So,
Mumbi, what does the future hold for the Stanbic Junior NBA in South Sudan?
In South Sudan. So we've just completed our first season, and next year we'll be having our second season. So we're really looking forward to that. Yes. Looking
forward to that. And aside from, getting basketball to schools here in Kenya, what other projects should we look forward to from NBA Kenya? So
we have a schools program, a national program that we'll be launching very soon. That'll be announced. It's been announced, but we'll launch it in October. We have, as I mentioned, Mark Tatum coming, who will be coming with a legend. I can't reveal the name now. We're just hoping that we'll get the signature in the next couple of days. But it's a big name that many Kenyans will be interested to know. But for us, it's how do we build more courts? We have a Opportunity International, a nonprofit, is about to build 2 courts at schools here in Kenya. Mark Tatum's going to be making an announcement, our deputy commissioner, about the number of courts that the NBA is committing to building in Kenya over the next 10 years, which is going to be a big announcement. And then it's just really getting as many corporates in Kenya to get behind the game and partner with the NBA so we can grow it. I think, and I started coming to Kenya around 2010, developing basketball. And I think that Kenya is unique to all of the African countries. When you get down on the ground, Kenya has arguably more basketball, structured basketball happening in the communities than anywhere on this continent. And people look at me crazy when I say that, but you have leagues in Kakamega, you have leagues in Kisumu, Eldoret, you have 4 men's divisions in here in Nairobi, et cetera. So for us, it's tapping into that and giving more opportunities and laying the foundation for what I believe is a multi-million-dollar business that can take shape in Kenya, not just for the NBA, but an industry that should be. it should not be that the largest talent pool in the world, which is Africa for basketball, basketball isn't a multi-billion dollar industry where the largest talent pool exists. That has to change, and we want to do our small part to contribute to that.
Finally, Mumbi, do you see what you guys are doing in South Sudan trickling to Kenya?
We do hope so. We do hope so.
Yes.
We're in conversations with the NBA to see what we could do here. Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. Of course, Mumbi Kagobe from Stanbic in Juba, and Michael Finley, of course, from NBA Kenya, for coming and giving us insights on, what the game of basketball is at the moment in Kenya, in Juba, and Africa as a whole. Thank you.